Hey guys, so I just saw the movie Doom on Netflix and it was actually quite nice to revisit again. Haven't seen this movie in, probably at least 10 years, if not longer. And the reason why it's been so long for me is back then I remember it not being that good, like pretty shitty. But after just rewatching it now, I actually thought it was okay. It actually kept me pretty entertained for the most part. But don't get me wrong, I don't think it's good, but I don't think it's bad either. And I will talk about the pros and cons in my opinion. And by the way, I'll try to make a good review out of this. No script, just on top of my head, just, you know, let's do this sort of thing after watching it. So I think the big problem with this movie is the fact that it's called Doom and it's supposed to be based off the video game franchise Doom. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that's a bad idea. In fact, I think that's an outstanding idea. I mean, a live motion picture of Doom. I mean, with all the material that Doom has to offer. I mean, you have those skeleton dudes on those jetpacks. You have those floaty head things. Very creepy, by the way. They look really scary in a live motion picture. And then you have those big Mimitar demon looking dudes that like throw fireballs and shit. I forget what they're called, like Baron. And then you got Pinky, those demon dogs. Yeah, I remember that. Pinky. But yeah, the movie doesn't have any of that, of course, right? Otherwise, this movie would be amazing. Even if the script wasn't good and all that, which, by the way, the script overall is pretty poor. It has its moments of shine, but overall it's, yeah, on the weaker end. It does have some good humor. Now, that's one thing that kind of interests me because, so Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stars in this movie, and it's funny to say that and not a surprise because he seems to be in every movie, especially in this day and age. But, pretty much in all his movies, he's always like the kind, nice, funny guy, right? He's the good one. Well, in this one, he's like a heartless prick. He's just a fucking asshole. So he really got me by surprise. Instead, they had like this goofy crackhead soldier pretty much as your comedy humor. And I can't remember the name of his character or his actual name, the actor himself. But he was pretty good. He was pretty funny. He had some pretty funny lines. So yeah, he was your comedy relief. And as far as that goes, there was another guy. He was in like this wheelchair sort of thing. But the problem is he was barely in the movie. He was in like little segments of the movie. But when he was in it, he was pretty funny. And a little spoiler is like later in the movie he does get infected, the guy in the wheelchair. And I couldn't help but think that he's supposed to resemble Pinky, the demon dog. That might be a stretch, but I just like to think of it that way, even though that's, yeah, maybe not a good resemblance. I don't know. But, during that fight scene, they did show the chainsaw, and it showed like a first-person perspective. So they kind of, just trying to honor the Doom game. So that's pretty cool that they did that. But they only did that towards the end for like a couple minutes. That's about it. Which, by the way, that little fight scene was pretty good. So let's talk about the fight scene. So, and again, the thing that, since this is, Doom, right? What would you want in a Doom movie besides all the monsters that I named? And of course, there's a lot more, but those are like the big monsters I would have liked to see in this movie. You want to see a lot of blood. You want to see a lot of gore. You want to see monsters get ripped apart. You want to see humans get ripped apart. Just mindless gore, right? Just a bloodbath, with who cares plot, you know what I mean? You just want to see some mindless action. And that would have been great with great CG, of course. And as far as the CG goes, is it was kind of like a mixed bag. Like there was some good CG, there was some I thought not so good CG. So yeah, I just like to call it a mixed bag. Overall, I thought it was fine though. And as far as the script, yeah, it was pretty weak. The actors really were all pretty good. It's just a shame, you know, the things that came out of their mouth weren't that good because, well, the script was very poor. And that's kind of a shame. But the actors were really good. And what else was I going to say? One thing I thought was pretty cool, they did have the Bfg gun, which obviously we know what that means. Big fucking gun. I thought that was pretty cool that it was in the movie. So at least they had that. I thought that was kind of ridiculous how they had the BFG in this movie, but hardly any monsters. At least not a good variety of them. You know what I mean? One thing, I'll show you an image right now. The monster that was in this movie, doesn't he look like a Hell Knight to you? Maybe that's what he was supposed to be. I don't know. I think they said he was supposed to be an imp. I don't know if they said that in the movie. I don't think they did. But if you go to the website, I think they said that there were supposed to be imps. But yeah, he looks like a Hell Knight to me, which is cool. Nothing wrong with that. It's just when you know, like you have a scale, because there's a lot of different monsters in Doom, right? And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go by the last Doom I played, which is technically Doom 4 on PS4, which, by the way, is a great game. If you haven't played it, you should pick it up. Outstanding game, really fun. But, like, the Hell Knight, he's pretty much on the, even though he's a cool monster, he's pretty much on the lower scale. You know, really, he's just above, like, imps pretty much. Because then you have, like, a lot of these other bad boys. And, you know, it's a shame they weren't in this movie. And I can understand if there's a lot of people that really hate this movie because of that. And you should. Because when you make, and it's the same with video games. Like, when you make something based off of something else, to me, there's a responsibility. You know, you got to make sure you deliver the right content to please your consumers, us fans, as viewers. And yeah, they really failed to do that. And of course it's a money grab. That's why they called it Doom. Because if it wasn't called Doom and it was like your typical action sci-fi movie, I actually think this would probably be a much better movie in most people's eyes. And I'm actually curious, you know, leave comments below, what would you rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 meaning it's a piece of shit and 10 masterpiece. Of course, it's no 10, but I'm curious what you guys think. And I'll give you my final verdict towards the end of this video. So, as far as the positives go, I did think it was entertaining, regardless. I thought the pace was pretty well balanced. It didn't feel like it was dragging. There was really no boring part, I didn't think. And even though I would have liked to see more monsters and more action, more blood, and gore, guts, and all that, you see a little, but not enough. It was at least well balanced and entertaining enough. And one positive thing I like to say about this is it does have rewatch value, at least for me. And to me, that says a lot. If a movie can entertain me from start to finish, for the most part, you know, if not all the way, and it's something that I will go back to and watch again, to me it's a plus. So yeah, anyway guys, we might as well go to final verdict. Sorry this was a short video, but yeah, let's just go to final verdicts. Alright guys, so I gave this some deep thought, and so on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning utterly trash, 5 is average, 10 masterpiece, I'm going to give this movie pretty much right in the middle. I'm going to cut it right in the middle. 5 out of 10. And this is why. So even though it failed as far as Doom fans go, it didn't give us enough monsters. There wasn't enough blood and guts. I know that may sound barbaric, but it's a Doom movie. And that's what us Doom fans would want to see out of a Doom movie. Now, on the positive side, though, the fact that I think this does have rewatch value, at least for me, and it at least had a pretty balanced pace, and it was entertaining enough. I was pretty well engaged, regardless. I'm going to cut it right there in the middle. Because how I look at it, for me, if it's entertaining enough, and the main thing for me, as long as it has rewatch value, it's automatically a 5. Because anything below a 5, to me, I wouldn't want to watch again. In fact, the next movie that I'm going to post, my next movie review, spoiler, is below average. And even though I thought it was entertaining enough, it doesn't have rewatch value. It's basically a one and done, you know. So yeah, anything 4 and under with me, one and done. So that's why I'm giving this movie a 5 out of 10, right there in the middle. So, but if, you know, that's the thing. If this wasn't Doom, right? If this was just your typical sci-fi movie, I probably would have given this a 6. Because I thought it was entertaining enough, and it wasn't bad. Like, even though the CG was kind of hot, cold, it was kind of a mixed bag. There was more good CG than bad. My opinion, anyways. So, yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this movie review. And yeah, please leave comments below. What would you rate this on a scale of 1 to 10? And let me know if you're a fan of Doom or you're not. Because I like to compare, you know. And I'm sure for those of you that have watched this video and leave a comment are probably curious as well. Like, what would Doom fans rate this and non-Doom fans rate this? Be kind of, I think, a funny, you know, be fun info. So yeah, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.